All right, let's talk about power in the RV. A common misconception that folks have is they think that if they turn the engine on, it's automatically going to power all the outlets throughout the vehicle. That's actually not the case at all. Okay? So, in order to have power in the RV, so if you wanted to plug something into an outlet, or you wanted to use the microwave, or you wanted to make some coffee, or run the AC, you actually need to give the RV power. You have to turn it on, okay? There's three things that you could do, three ways of getting power in the vehicle. There's an inverter, a generator, and an electric hookup. Think of it in levels. The inverter gives you a little bit of power, and then the generator and an electric hookup give you a lot of power. They're on the same amount of power. So why would you want to use the inverter versus just using the generator? A couple of reasons. The inverter gets its power from the house battery. So what happens is there's two batteries in the RV. There's a chassis battery, which is used for driving, and then there's a house battery, which is used for powering the lights, powering the refrigerator, powering the control panels, and also the stereo and the alarms and the detectors. So the house battery is always giving off a little bit of power, and when you turn the inverter on, what you're doing is you're boosting how much power the house battery is giving off. So now it's giving off maximum amount that it possibly could, high frequency, high efficiency, okay? And that's enough power for your electronics. So if you wanted to have the TVs on, or if you wanted to charge your phone or your laptop or an iPad or maybe a camera, for that you could use the inverter. It's enough power. The inverter is not enough power for your appliances. So microwave or a toaster or a tea kettle or induction cooktop or the AC, for example, all those items, they need a lot of power to work. But before we talk about that, I want to mention a couple more things about the inverter. So as I said, when you turn it on, it boosts how much power the house battery is giving off. Very important to keep an eye on your house battery. You definitely don't want to let it drain completely because again, it powers so many things that are essential in the RV, like your control panels, like your refrigerator. So you definitely want to keep the house battery, at least with some battery. In order to recharge the house battery, you can do a couple things. You can turn on the engine, so that's great because if you're driving, you have the engine on, and let's say you wanted to have a movie going on the TVs, you could turn the inverter on, and that's fine because even though you're using the battery, you're also recharging it, so it sort of balances out, okay? So you can recharge the house battery by having the engine on. You can recharge the house battery by having the generator on. That's actually the quickest way to recharge the house battery. Or you can recharge the house battery by plugging into an electric hookup. And all of our vehicles do have solar panels on them. So that helps to top it off as well, okay? When you turn the inverter on, it's gonna give you power in the TVs and two outlets in the RV. So not all the outlets will have power, only two are wired to work with the inverter. So if you have the inverter on and you check an outlet and it's not working, check another outlet, okay? Or call us and we'll tell you which outlet works with the inverter on. It does vary based on the model. Again, keep an eye on your house battery level, okay? You definitely don't want to let it drain. When it's really cold outside, that actually reduces the efficiency of the battery. So whereas in a regular case, we say the house battery will last about 5 hours with the inverter on, if it's cold outside, that number does decrease, okay? And if it is cold outside and you're running the air, the hot air to keep the RV warm, that's running from your house battery. So super important to either have an electric hookup in that case or make sure that your battery is really recharged before going into the night. Okay, so that's the inverter, okay? 5 hours, turn it off when you're not using it, powers two outlets, and it's used for your electronics. Then you have the generator. The generator and an electric hookup, they give you the same amount of power, and that's really your primary source, okay? When you turn the generator on, you'll see that the microwave light turns on. That means that you're getting power now. So now you could use any of your appliances. Your microwave, the toaster, the tea kettle, the induction cooktop. All these items, they require a lot of power, so they won't work with the inverter, but they will work with a generator or an electric hookup. We have two generator types in our vehicles. We have liquid propane generators and we have a diesel generator. The liquid propane generator gets its power from liquid propane, and on a full tank of propane, it's going to last about 10 to 15 hours, give or take, okay? Whereas the diesel generator, on a full tank of diesel, it's going to last about 40 hours, give or take, okay? So keep an eye on your tank levels to make sure that you're not running out. One more thing that's really, really important. The RV itself is wired for 30 amps, okay? You don't necessarily need to remember the number 30, but what you do need to remember is you can only use one heavy draw item at a time. A heavy draw item is anything that you need to have the generator or an electric hookup on to work. So if it can be powered without anything, like the refrigerator, for example, not a problem. If it can be powered with an inverter, like a TV, for example, not a problem. But again, your microwave, your toaster, electric tea kettle, induction cooktop, coffee maker, also the AC, that requires a lot of power to work, and your electric water heater or electric air heater. Those items take a lot of electricity to work, and because the RV is only wired for 30 amps, you can't have both on at the same time. That doesn't matter if you're using an electric hookup or the generator, because it's the RV itself, okay? So really, really, really important. I said really a lot of times because it's that important. Have one at a time, okay? What happens if you, let's say you forget, right? It happens, especially if it's your first time camping in an RV. We get that. So let's say you have the microwave on and you turn on the coffee maker. What happens is it's going to overload the vehicle. And best case scenario is it's just going to pop your breaker. But, you know, we've seen other instances too. That's why we stress it so much. We are going to remind you about that one more time when we bring the vehicle to you. And it is also on that departure form that you're going to sign. So we are going to remind you about that. But hopefully I said really enough times that you'll remember. One at a time, okay? All right. Thank you for watching this video. That's the power in the RV. If you have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate. You can email us, you can text, you can call. We're always happy to answer any of your questions.